This video is going to cover some things dealing with the legs. First you want to, so you're going to convert your cylinder-like legs into more realistic like legs. So you're really going to want to look at your reference. I've printed out, just so I could show them to you, I've printed out my reference photos. I'm going to do wasp legs. I have an ant midsection here, but I just really like the way the wasp legs look. So I'm going to do wasp legs instead of ant legs. And so I've collected various photos, and you can look at the photos I have. You can even look up some of your own too, if you like. So I have, artist renderings, I have photos, and so on, and even a little, anatomy thing here. It's kind of small, but it helps me to identify the parts, because if you can identify the parts, you think about that as you go, because you have the coxa or coxa, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, the trochanter, and then the femur, tibia, and then the tarsus. You want all those sections. So right here in my drawing, I didn't really divide up separate the coxa and the tarsus, or I'm sorry, and the trochanter, but I will do that now based on what I have. But another concept to keep in mind is that I think some people are going to have trouble with is the foreshortening. When you have a section, these legs can bend, in various ways. But sometimes you have those front legs that kind of come towards you a little bit, and then you have the back ones that are, kind of going back this way. So when you have these cylinders and it's coming towards you, you have maybe one cylinder, I'm just going to draw it over here, that comes down like this. Say this is sort of like the shoulder attaching to the body here, coming or going down, right? Let's say we wouldn't see the opening, it would be hidden from us, but the leg sort of attaches here, kind of like a ball and socket joint, right? Like our joints. I don't know how they're made, but so then that one might go, let me move this down here so it's less confusing. Okay, this goes down. Then this one might come up, but it overlaps this as it comes up, right? Something like this, right? And then you have this sort of this cylinder, this opening like that. I mean, the opening might not be here. It's like they're connected here. It's almost like, a lot of these they're almost like pipes with elbows on them. Like you have a pipe and it's like there's an elbow. They turn a corner like this, right? And then you see the opening here like this. One thing that I didn't really talk about before. Because they're not connecting on the, sometimes they're connecting on the end. When you go from the tibia to the tarsus, they go like that. But this one, they kind of overlap. So this one may come down now, come this way. And if it comes towards you, there might be some perspective going on. If it was extreme, we could make this extreme. This might be foreshortened if it was coming towards us, something like that. So hopefully you kind of get the feel for how that would be foreshortened and come towards you. But otherwise, it may not have that extreme perspective. It could just be going down like this. And then maybe the next section is like, the tarsus, where you start to have the sections, like that with the claw on them, something like that. So that's how you would approach something where it is coming towards you, right? They overlap like that up and down, and they kind of come towards you, and they might be foreshortened. It's a lot different than if you're seeing, the side view, where they're, going like this. Okay, so keep that in mind. So now you're just going to take your leg parts and you're going to put more detail into them, like your body parts. So you want to study those, and you divide this thing up. So with mine, I'm going to erase this a little bit, and I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to divide this into like the two sections as it appears. It's almost like this guy's got like muscles, if you will. There's a section that comes in like that, and then it kind of goes like this. This sort of wraps around like that, and there's kind of these weird cutouts here. Not too worried about that. And then this part here, which I may end up making a little bit longer, and feel free to obviously adjust as you go. I'm looking to the side here, looking at my reference photos as I go. And this, I think I am going to adjust this whole thing. I'm going to bring this over this way more, I think, and then, okay. So this kind of starts out wide. Again, it's almost like he's got sort of like these muscles, if you will. Oh, fix my pencil. Tibia, so this would be my femur here, the femur, my tibia, and then lastly the tarsus, which is broken up into sections. I think there's 3 of these. And then the claw part, something like that. So adjust those, and a lot of people are making their legs too small, so make sure that you make your legs big enough, and then you just continue that process. Make sure you've drawn them all out as cylinders, make sure you've got the right sizes, that they look like they're big enough, and really look at those photo references. Make sure those legs look like they're going to be big enough to support the weight of that body. Get that all figured out before you get into this kind of a detail. You don't want to be thinking about this detail if you've already haven't planned out where they're going to go, what they're doing. And typically the front one goes forward somewhat, the middle one kind of goes straight out, and the back one kind of goes away from you, kind of goes backward. And that's something to think about too with doing the cylinders. Okay, so you might have one that's sort of, here's the side of your insect, right? So it might attach like this, go back like this, right? And then you can't really see where it attaches. It sort of overlaps behind, goes down something like this, might wrap like this, and I may have already gone over this. And then the next one, might go out like that. Could, it all depends on what you're doing with that leg, or whether maybe it's coming out this way more. But just realize that there's overlap going on between those sections. You might not always see where they connect because one part is in front of the other.